Hello, and welcome to the Care Machine podcast. I'm Professor Helen Meese, and I'll be hosting this monthly dive into the world of healthcare technology and medical innovation. Please be generous with your likes and subscribes so you can keep up to date with this and our sustainable healthcare episode every second Thursday of the month. October has seen some fantastic developments in the world of MedTech, with a real sense of momentum building as we head towards the last few months of the year. We're seeing bold digital transformation, regulatory changes happening at pace, and significant industry investment in the UK. Today, we're covering some transformative developments. We've got the NHS announcing its completely new model of care delivery, NHS Online Hospital, which will be a digital-first model launching in 2027. And what feels like another first, the MHRA and NICE's aligned pathway going live 6 months ahead of schedule. Major industry investment from Convatec, and we'll venture globally to look at regulatory cooperation in Asia Pacific, digital pathology advancements, surgical robotic breakthroughs, and cross-border data sharing. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let's dive into the healthcare technology news brief with the Care Machine. On the 30th of September, NHS England announced plans for a completely new model of healthcare delivery, the NHS Online Hospital. Now, I can see some of you rolling your eyes and thinking, not another digital healthcare initiative from the NHS. But hold on for a second and let's dig into this a little bit more. The online hospital is set to open its digital doors in 2027 via the NHS app. This is a virtual hospital with no physical site, but plans to manage over 8.5 million appointments in its first 3 years. Let's put those numbers into perspective. There are typically 1.36 million GP appointments per working day in the UK. That's data from the Royal College of GPs in August of this year. And the NHS also estimates that 24% of A&E admissions and 40% of A&E visits are either non-urgent or preventable, which can contribute to overcrowding in emergency departments. Addressing some of this low-level and non-urgent care via other means could take significant pressure off the NHS as a whole. Sir Jim McKay, NHS England's Chief Strategy Officer, put it succinctly when he said this is about industrialising technology, taking what works in digital health and deploying it on a massive scale. So, how does it actually work? Well, patients will access digital triage through the NHS app, connecting them to remote specialist consultations. If you need scans or tests, you'll be directed to the community diagnostic centres rather than hospital sites. The model focuses initially on patients with the longest waits, those who've been stuck in the system far too long. What makes this particularly interesting is that it's not replacing physical hospitals, it's creating a parallel pathway for care that doesn't require a physical hospital visit, adding greater access and opportunity for treatment of non-emergency conditions. The NHS is designing this in partnership with patients, not just consulting them after the fact, but actually involving them right from the beginning. That's critical because digital transformation only works if people actually use it. Now, while this model offers enormous potential, there are legitimate concerns about digital exclusion. Not everyone has smartphone access, reliable internet, or the digital literacy to navigate app-based healthcare. The NHS will need to ensure that this innovation does not inadvertently create a two-tier system where digitally confident patients get faster access while others are left behind. From an engineering and systems perspective, this is ambitious. Perhaps the most ambitious digital healthcare programme the NHS has ever attempted. The question isn't whether this technology can do this. It can. The question is whether the NHS has the infrastructure, the workforce training, and the change management capability to make this work at scale. If you're working in digital health, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Are you ready to be part of this transformation? Do you see any roadblocks in its execution? Let me know with your views in the comments section. Now, here's something that shows regulatory innovation can happen at pace. On the 10th of October, the MHRA and NICE launched their Accelerated Aligned Pathway. What's amazing about this? They delivered it 6 months ahead of schedule. This is really significant, so let me explain what this change is all about. Traditionally, when a new medicine or medical device gets approved, there's a sequential process. First, the MHRA assesses safety and efficacy for licensing. Then, separately, NICE evaluates clinical and cost effectiveness for NHS use. There's typically a 90-day gap between these decisions, and sometimes they don't align. You can have a licensed product that NICE doesn't recommend, leaving patients and clinicians in limbo. The Accelerated Aligned Pathway changes this fundamentally. The MHRA and NICE will now work together from the start, conducting simultaneous assessments and issuing aligned decisions. The uncertainty about whether a licensed product will actually be available to NHS patients is potentially dramatically reduced. And it's not just about speed, though that matters enormously for patients waiting for breakthrough treatments. It's about smarter regulation. Companies will now be able to get joint scientific advice from both bodies starting in April of 2026, meaning they can design their clinical trials and evidence packages, knowing exactly what both regulators need to see. The pathway is already accepting early adopters, so this is your chance to shape how it works in practice, to identify what works well and what needs refinement. Victoria Atkins, Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, said this pathway will speed up access to the latest innovative treatments, while maintaining the UK's world-leading regulatory standards. That balance, speed without compromising safety, is exactly what good regulatory innovation looks like. Remember back to our September episode about MHRA rethinking regulation through collaboration? Well, this is that philosophy in action. This isn't regulators imposing new requirements on industry. This is regulators redesigning their own processes to remove barriers whilst maintaining rigorous standards. For industry, this is a massive opportunity. If you're developing innovative medicines and devices in the UK market, engaging with this pathway early could dramatically accelerate your route to patients. The MHRA and NICE are asking for your participation. This is the time to get involved and help shape the regulatory system that actually enables innovation. On the 1st of October, Convatec, a global medical products and technology company, announced plans to invest more than $1 billion in R&D facilities, with a major component focused right here in the UK. Convatec is investing $600 million in the US, expanding their Boston Innovation and Technology Centre with a 50% capacity increase by the end of 2025. But here's what matters to the UK. They're investing £500 million into creating a brand new R&D hub in Manchester, opening in 2027. This isn't just about buildings and equipment, though that matters. This is about 200 highly skilled roles being created in Manchester, including scientists, engineers, researchers and innovators, who will be developing the next generation of advanced wound care, ostomy care, continence care and critical care technologies. Karen Bittar, Convatec's CEO, said this investment underscores our commitment to advancing healthcare and positions the company at the forefront of medical technology innovation. This comes at a time when, as we've been discussing here on the Care Machine podcast, that there are barriers to UK MedTech innovation, funding gaps, regulatory challenges, NHS adoption hurdles. Yet there's a major international company saying the UK is exactly where they want to be doing advanced research and development. Manchester has been positioning itself as a life sciences hub for some time. If you go back to our September episode, you'll hear all about the discussion on the Manchester Medtronic partnership. This Convatec investment reinforces that momentum. The city is building genuine critical mass in healthcare technology, with academic institutions, the NHS Trust, and now major industry R&D facilities all concentrated in one region. It's worth noting that Convatec's existing Deeside manufacturing site, which employs 400 people, remains unaffected. This is a new investment, not relocation. So growth in UK life sciences capability is key here. From a strategic perspective, this raises an important question. What is the UK doing right that's attracting this level of investment? And how do we ensure that other companies follow Convatec's lead? We've got the talent, the academic excellence, and increasingly the regulatory innovation. The challenge now is making sure the entire ecosystem, from startups to scale-ups to global corporations, see the UK as a place to invest in healthcare innovation. Now, here's proof that regulatory pathways can deliver real results. In October, the Innovative Licensing and Access Pathway, ILAP, welcomed its first 3 investigational products, marking a significant milestone for UK rare disease innovation. These therapies could create potential lifelines for families of children with rare diseases. These 3 being ornithine transcarbamylase deficiency, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and a rare neurodegenerative condition affecting children with no current cure or treatment available. From 16 applications in this first round, these 3 were awarded innovation passports, the entry point into the ILAP. What makes the ILAP unique is that it's the only end-to-end pathway in the world where healthcare developers, the regulator, the UK-wide National Health System, and the Health Technology Assessment Body work together from the outset. The MHRA, NHS England, NICE, the Scottish Medicines Consortium, and the All Wales Therapeutics Centre are all embedded as partners. The Innovation Passport gives developers coordinated support from the earliest stages of development, priority access to clinical trial support, NHS engagement, and crucially, early guidance on safety, effectiveness, and value requirements across the entire system. This is designed to reduce the time it takes for promising new treatments to move through development, licensing, and, if approved, to NHS patients. There are between 5,000 and 8,000 rare diseases affecting 3 million people in the UK. For many of these conditions, effective treatments simply don't exist. Developing medicines for rare diseases is particularly challenging. Small patient populations make critical trials complex and expensive. ILAP offers focused support that's particularly valuable here, helping to overcome these barriers. Lawrence Talon, MHRA Chief Executive, called this collaborative regulation at its best, with key partners working together to deliver meaningful benefits for public health. The pathway is now open for the next round of applications. So if you're developing transformative medicines for rare or serious conditions that haven't yet entered confirmatory trials, this is your opportunity to benefit from coordinated UK-wide support. ILAP demonstrates that when regulators, health systems, and industry collaborate from the start, we can accelerate access to breakthrough treatments for patients who currently have nowhere else to turn. And now, turning to a critical area of unmet need. The UK government has launched a £50 million initiative specifically for mental health innovation, focusing on data-driven research and volunteer cohort development. This isn't the usual generic healthcare funding. This is targeted investment in digital mental health platforms, novel therapeutics, and community interventions. Grants range from £100,000 to £1 million, supporting projects that address specific gaps in mental health care delivery. What makes this initiative particularly interesting is the integration of health data infrastructure. An Industry Alliance team is partnering innovators with NHS Trust to accelerate evaluation, with a digital cohort of around 20,000 volunteers available for evidence generation. Mental health research has historically struggled with data access and cohort recruitment, so this initiative has the potential to remove those barriers. Projects must demonstrate scalable impact, not just proof of concept, but pathways to widespread adoption across NHS mental health services. Innovation in this space can deliver transformational outcomes. In recent years, mental health has moved from the margins to the mainstream of healthcare policy, with digital therapeutics, AI-powered diagnostics, remote monitoring, and community-based interventions all having the potential to improve access and outcomes for patients. This £50 million sits alongside broader government commitments to mental health services and represents a clear signal that innovation funding is being directed where clinical need is greatest. For innovators working in mental health technology, this is a really exciting opportunity. The funding is available, the infrastructure is being built, and NHS partners are ready to collaborate. The question is, what unmet need can your innovation address? And how will you demonstrate scalable impact across diverse patient populations? And finally, a story about regional ecosystem development. From the 1st of October, the West Midlands Health Technologies Cluster transitioned to the stewardship of Medilink Midlands, safeguarding and expanding the region's health tech ecosystem. Now, this might sound like an administrative restructuring, but it's actually about building critical mass. The West Midlands is positioning itself as one of the UK's most exciting health tech regions, and with the global health market set to reach an estimated $500 billion by the end of 2025, it has a great chance of achieving this. The cluster brings together businesses, academic institutions, NHS trusts, and investors to accelerate health technology innovation. The West Midlands Health Tech Innovation Accelerator has been successfully helping companies for many years, and this transition under Medilink Midlands ensures continuity and expansion of that support. The Birmingham Knowledge Quarter is investing heavily in campus upgrades, ranking 10th nationally and first in the West Midlands for business startups. So if you're developing health technologies, engaging with these regional ecosystems, whether it's the West Midlands, Manchester, or emerging clusters elsewhere, we would love to hear your success stories and perhaps share them on the Care Machine news brief. Now, let's zoom out a little and look at what's happening globally. And I've got 4 quick snapshots from MedTech around the world for you today. Let's start with a significant development from Asia Pacific that shows how regulatory cooperation can accelerate innovation. In August this year, Malaysia's Medical Device Authority and Singapore's Health Science Authority signed a Memorandum of Understanding to launch a 6-month pilot medical device regulatory reliance programme. Running from September 2025 to February 2026, this pilot streamlines registration for Class B, C and D medical devices between the 2 countries. Medical device registration certificate holders can expect dramatically reduced review times. Malaysia aims for 30 days, down from 90, and Singapore targets 60 days, down from its 90 to 120 days. This regulatory reliance programme means that if a device is already approved in one country, the other regulator can rely on that assessment, avoiding duplication while maintaining safety standards. Both regulators will test streamlined pathways, establish clear standard operating procedures, validate shortened processing times, and gather stakeholder feedback to build an effective, scalable programme after the pilot. This represents a broader trend towards regional regulatory harmonisation in Asia Pacific, countries recognising that cooperation, not duplication, accelerates patient access to innovative medical technologies while maintaining rigorous safety standards. We'll keep you posted on the outcomes of this programme. And now from regulatory cooperation to technology adoption. Here's an exciting development showing how medical devices are addressing critical healthcare challenges. In July, Hamamatsu Photonics' NanoZoomer whole slide imaging scanners received CDSCO medical device approval in India. For Indian pathologists, this means faster, more accurate diagnostics and streamlined workflows. The scanners integrate seamlessly with laboratory information systems, picture archiving and communication systems, HL7 and AI platforms, critical infrastructure for modern digital pathology. India faces a significant shortage of trained pathologists, and AI-powered digital pathology platforms like this help fill those gaps, enabling faster diagnoses while reducing pathology burnout. The scanners were showcased at the Asian Society of Digital Pathology Congress in Mumbai in October this year. Now from diagnostics to surgical intervention. And here we're seeing remarkable advances in surgical robotics coming out of China and Taiwan, with two stories catching my attention this month. Firstly, Taiwan's National Science and Technology Council announced that the infant cardiac robotic surgical system called iCross, developed by Professor Changwei Chen's team at the National Taiwan University, has surpassed the Da Vinci system in performance. This is significant because paediatric cardiac surgery is incredibly delicate work, and having robotic systems specifically designed for infants opens up new possibilities for treating congenital heart defects with greater precision and less invasiveness. Secondly, on the 9th of October, Chinese company Microport announced that its two-mate laparoscopic surgical robot has achieved a major commercialization milestone with over 100 global orders. Microport is expanding beyond China into international markets, and this order milestone demonstrates growing global confidence in Asian-developed surgical robotics technology. What's particularly interesting is that we're seeing innovation coming from multiple regions, not just the traditional Western markets. Asia-Pacific is becoming a powerhouse in surgical robotics development and commercialization. So, there you have it. Regulatory cooperation streamlining device approval, digital pathology technology addressing workforce shortages, and two surgical robotics solutions advancing at pace. Four very different stories, but they all point to the same thing. What happens in Malaysia, Singapore, India, Taiwan, or China feeds into the broader picture and ultimately benefits patients everywhere. So, that's our whistle-stop tour of October's healthcare technology landscape. But before we wrap up, let me tell you about something equally important, where you can actually meet the people making these innovations happen. November and early December are absolutely packed with healthcare and MedTech events. I want to give you a quick rundown of the 6 conferences and exhibitions that are worth your attention. Whether you're looking to network, scout innovations, or just stay connected with what's happening in the sector, these are the ones to watch. First up, 17th to the 20th of November brings us Medica in Dusseldorf, Germany. This is the world's largest medical trade fair with over 5,000 exhibitors from 70 plus countries and around 80,000 professional visitors. Medica covers everything from medical technology, medical products, laboratory technology and diagnostics, the full spectrum. If you want a comprehensive view of where global healthcare technology is heading, Medica is where you need to be. On the 15th of November, London's 155 Bishopgate hosts the IHCAN Summit, the Integrative Healthcare and Applied Nutrition Summit. This brings together internationally recognised and respected speakers focusing on integrative approaches to healthcare, While this seems outside the traditional medtech, integrative healthcare is increasingly important, combining conventional medical treatments with nutrition, lifestyle interventions, and preventative care. For innovators working in digital health, wellness technology, or personalised medicine, understanding this space is absolutely valuable. On the 10th and 11th of December in London, the Digital Pathology and AI Congress Europe takes place. Given the previous news on digital pathology scanners and infrastructure, this conference is perfectly timed. Digital pathology is transforming diagnostics, and AI is accelerating that transformation. This congress brings together pathologists, laboratory professionals, technology developers, and AI specialists to discuss implementation challenges, regulatory pathways, clinical validation, and real-world deployment of digital pathology and AI solutions. Now, abstract submissions are still open until the 21st of November. So if you've got research or case studies that you want to share, this is the place to do it. Finally, the 8th to the 9th of December brings us Giant Health in London. This is one of the UK's most dynamic healthcare innovation events, showcasing expertly curated and innovative healthcare technology. Giant Health has a particular focus on startups and scale-ups, with pitching opportunities, investor connections, and NHS partnership discussions. So if you're an early stage or growing stage healthcare company, this is where you want to be seen. The event attracts NHS decision makers, investors, and corporate partners actively looking for innovations to adopt and fund. So there you have it, some of the leading conferences to attend throughout November and early December, from the massive international scale of Medica to the focused innovation showcase at Giant Health. There's something there for everyone in the healthcare technology space. And of course, if you're attending any of these, I would love to hear about it. Drop me a message and let me know what you're seeing, what's exciting you, and what challenges are coming up in conversation. Right, so what have we learned from October? Well, the NHS is launching a completely new model of care delivery with its online hospital. Regulators are collaborating in ways that we haven't seen before, and industry is backing the UK with serious investment. We're also seeing regulatory pathways actually working, breakthrough treatments for patients in the UK, government funding targeting critical areas like mental health innovation, and regional clusters like the West Midlands building the infrastructure that startups and scale-ups need to succeed. Globally, the picture is equally encouraging. Asia Pacific is leading on regulatory cooperation. Digital pathology scanners are addressing workforce shortages in India, and surgical robots from Taiwan and China are achieving remarkable milestones. Now, we all have a role to play in moving from innovation to implementation. So if you're working in healthcare technology, what bold moves are you making? If you're in policy or regulation, what processes can you accelerate? And if you're in industry, where could you invest to build ecosystem capability? Share your thoughts with us at the Care Machine. We would love to hear what you're working on and what barriers you're trying to tackle. Over the coming months, we'll see how these initiatives develop. Will the NHS Online Hospital pilot deliver on its promises? Will the MHRA NICE aligned pathway become the new standard? Who knows? But follow the Care Machine podcast to keep up to date on these and other developments in healthcare technology and innovation. I'm Helen Meese, and this has been the Care Machine News Brief podcast. I'll see you next month.